Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show, The Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey bro, how are you?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. I can't complain. Um, Big weekend coming up. Big weekend already started. Like there's a lot of good matches going on today. Obviously, our big match on Sunday. NFL playoffs starts. American football, that's usually a big event, even if your team's not in it. My team is in it. I'm a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys. They play on Monday. Um, so there'll be a lot of sports watching this weekend. So I'm pretty psyched out to get off work.
Yeah, bro, huge weekend coming up for us. North London Derby, massive match. Really looking forward to this one. Want to get revenge on them for last season. We know what happened when we played them at their stadium, and it's been a while since we've beaten them at their stadium. We're going back to 2014. We're 1-0 with Thomas Partey scoring. So, yeah, let's hope we're going to be able to get that win. But before we talk about this weekend, our game and other games, we know there's a big game also involving the two Manchester clubs, which affects us in the title race situation between Man United and Man City. We'll get into that as well. Let's talk about our last match. It was against Oxford, FA Cup game on a Monday night, and we didn't start 2-1 that first half. Not the best of performances, you'd say. I think we're taking it a bit easy, but then we really stepped on it in the second half, got the three goals. Nketiah, brilliant. Both he took both his goals so well. It was really nice to see him getting them two more goals. Hopefully, it's going to keep giving him more and more confidence. In finished 3-0, got the job done. What are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, man. That first half was really boring, I would say. Like there wasn't really anything like you can't really talk too much about that first half. So like skipping to the second half, I thought I mean I what like let me backtrack a little bit, but I think the biggest thing we got from that game is if we did have a weakness or if there's something like that leaves a lot to be desired, it's got to be that midfield. I think Albert Sambi Lokonga is continuing to kind of like underwhelm a little bit. I don't know if I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's just not developing or whatever. Maybe he needs to go out on loan and get like a bunch of games going. But I thought he was like relatively disappointing, all things considered. Because you saw once Graka went in there, once Zinchenko went in as well, like the game completely, they went in like the 62nd minute or something, and the game completely changed. Within 1, 2 minutes, we are already up 1-0. So, yeah, like I said, I think if there's anything to kind of be worried about, I think it's our depth at midfield. But I mean, overall, everybody else kind of did well. I was really excited to see Emil Smith Rowe back in there, 75th minute. And he almost had he almost had a chance to score, but his one touch in front of the goal, like it was a little bit weak. But all things considered, I mean, he looked like a guy who obviously had been out for a long time because you saw the ball come to his feet, and it just looks like he was just like, oh shit, I got the ball. Like, what do I do next? And he kind of hesitated a little bit, but I'm sure it was great to be out there for him and get some minutes in those legs. So hopefully moving forward, he can kind of be sort of almost feeling like Arsene Wenger probably used to say back in the day, like it feels like a brand new signing, right? So hopefully we can kind of bring him into the team as early as Sunday. Maybe he can have an impact. But overall, I just thought it was a win. Nothing too exciting to be about. As you said, Eddie Nketiah's goals um, looked good. I think Fabio Vieira had kind of a struggle game for a while, but hey, he leaves with 2 assists, and I think with those kind of players, they just need to they just need to get on the score sheet, if you will, right? Like they just need to make something happen, and I think they can walk away with feeling good about themselves. Even though, like in Vieira's case, there was a couple times where he kind of got out muscled a little bit. Um, Overall, everybody outside of I think Sambi Lokonga should be happy with the way they performed on that Monday night or whenever we played. You know?
Yeah, as I say, it's just about getting the job done. You know, these ties can be a bit tricky. It's FA Cup. We've seen many upsets happen. So going there, getting the job done. We've got to rest many players. I was quite surprised that Arteta did start with Saka and Martinelli and Nketiah as well. I thought he might be looking to rest at least two of them. But he was asked about this before the game as well. He said, respect the tradition of the FA Cup, the strong history we have in that competition, and we got the job done. That was the main thing. Let's say first half, not great, but second half got that 3 goal lead, comfortable win in the end, and we move on to the next round. And so, talking about the next round, I was so disappointed to see that draw because there's so many teams left that you'll look at and be like, oh, that's going to be an easy win. You want to avoid playing the bigger teams until the latter stages of these sort of knockout
Yeah.
competitions, up in like semi-finals, finals, that sort of time. You want to get the easier draws as much as possible in the earlier rounds. It gives us a great chance to rest small players as well when you're playing against these smaller teams. But who did we get? And not only who did we get, where did we get them? If it was here, it'd been a lot better. Home, we've been great this season at home. We've been great away as well, I know, but we'd have an even better chance to beat them if it was at home. It'd be another home game for us as well, for our fans to go see us play a big game like that. But we got Manchester City and we got them away, unfortunately. What were your thoughts on that draw?
Uh, I was hoping we'd get what was that team that beat Villa? Stevenage. I was kind
Yeah.
of hoping we draw a team like that. Not just like no disrespect to a team there. I mean, I watched the replay just because I was curious. So I put it on while I was here at work, and I was like, man, I want to see like how they ended up like upsetting these guys. And it was. I mean, they played well, man. I mean, and it's as you said, man. There's a big tradition in this tournament. Every single club in England or in Europe or whatever. I think it's just England, right? Everybody gets to participate. Um, and you have what do they call it? The magic of the FA Cup, right? So um, there's also a big Wrexham is sort of having a big footprint because they have American owners and a TV show because the two owners that are American are like actors who are really trying to like big up that club and inject a lot of money and kind of revive that club. So I was also kind of hoping, hey, it'd be kind of cool if we drew them, but of course we draw Manchester City. I'm not as worried as you may be, like to play over there at the Empty Had, which is what I hear some people call it. Like I don't think their fans are much of a factor. Of course, you always want to play at home. I think everything's familiar. It's how it's your home pitch. You're comfortable with all the everything pretty much, right? So yeah, it's a little bit of an annoyance to draw them. But as I was saying, I think to a couple of my buddies, like if we were to keep drawing smaller clubs, well then let's go for it. Let's see if we can continue to try and win. I think we're going to we're going to try and win this game, but it's not the end of the world, and I don't think um, we should take it as serious. Not let me rephrase that. I don't think we should take it as a big gut punch if we end up losing this match in the FA Cup to Manchester City. Just because I think our main priorities are definitely going to be the league and Europa League. So yeah, it'd be great. I mean, it sets up this great storyline of just our championship rivals, right? Us and Manchester City going for the title. We still got to play them twice in the Premier League, and we're going to play them again in the FA Cup. So I think as a neutral fan, it's going to be great, right? The top two teams right now. It's just going to be another a matchup for us. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot in terms of like I don't think that game is going to look like the Premier League matches when we play them. I think there's going to be a little bit of a bunch of rotation, but as we've seen with City, they've definitely got the deeper squad. So um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I would have much preferred us played a smaller club, but it is what it is, man. You just got to play whoever's on your fixture list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, bro. I'm just looking at when they've scheduled it for. So it's been scheduled for Friday, the 27th of January, 8 p.m. kickoff. So
Oh joy!
yeah, looking at our fixtures around it, so we don't have any midweek games before it or after it, so that's good. So it's going to be the week after the Man United game, and then after that we got a week break until the Everton game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with team selection, how strong a team both teams do put out. We know City have, as you said, got a really strong squad, so if they do rest players, we know that even for players that come in, they're really at a high level. Our squad's not as strong as theirs, so it'll be interesting to see how we approach that game. I'm thinking because there's not a midweek game in between it, so I think there's a high chance we're going to put a really strong team out there and go. Hopefully, we can go there and get the win and progress to the next round. So it's going to be exciting because then just a couple of weeks after that, we're playing City in the Premier League, 15th of February. A huge game that's going to be. So yeah, it's really great times. We know. So now for our next three games now is Tottenham on Sunday, Man United the following Sunday, and then the following Friday is Man City. So three really big games for us to look forward to. Before we discuss the Tottenham game in more detail, I wanted to ask you about the transfer news, the situation with Mudryk. We're hearing a lot of rumours again now. We're hearing that a third bid has been submitted, increased for offer. We've added some more add-ons to make the value go even higher, closer to what they're asking for. What's your thoughts on the situation?
Uh, I think from the beginning that I had a feeling it wasn't going to be a quick, whether we got him or not, the resolution wasn't going to happen quickly, right? I knew it was going to be kind of long and drawn out just because, from my understanding, and it's been like all over the news or whatever, but Shakhtar has been playing hardball with us, and they've definitely been. That's been their whole intention this entire time, right? Like they don't want to budge from their what I think is an extremely high evaluation of Mudryk. Um, so I think but then at the same time, like they gotta sell. Like we're still offering them really good money. So yeah, the third bid is in. From my understanding, like they really took a lot of time to make sure that they were able to sort of address all the I guess what the concerns or the demands that Shakhtar had before submitting this third bid. Um, it's already known that the player wants us. I think even Chelsea came in and kind of tried to see if they wanted to hijack it, and as it turned out, like yeah, the player. I think obviously, right, the player has a big say in where they're going to go. So sure, Chelsea came out in the press and said like, oh yeah, we're ready to like outbid and blow Arsenal out of the water with the bid. But all that doesn't matter if the player doesn't even want to go to Chelsea. So I think ultimately this entire time it's always been in our favor. It's just a matter of making sure Shakhtar is going to finally like just fucking sell them to us already. So I'm actually feeling really confident about it. I think I don't know I don't know how confident there was some like chatter online like, oh, we got to get him in so he can be on the bench by the Tottenham match, and I was like, nah, probably not going to happen. Like these kinds of things, basically based on what I've seen, like they don't go on our timeline, right? It's on the timeline of the manager, on the other or the owner of the other team, the player's agent, and the player as well. So like they're not necessarily going on all like, oh, let's get this done by the Tottenham match. Like a lot of factors going in there. So I think more than likely we'll be able to maybe see him on the bench for United. Um, but who knows? I think it happens over the weekend and maybe gets announced early next week officially. Um, but yeah, by all indications, it's going to happen. As far as like overall transfer strategy, are we going to get another player? Let's just say we get him. Are we going to get another player or two? I've seen chatter like, oh, I want us to get two third players, three players. I'm thinking this is the one player we're going to get, and we might be lucky to get two. Um, Overall feeling about January transfer windows, as long as I've been following, is it's very hard to get players like it's very hard to just find somebody in January, right? Especially without overpaying. And then how much of an impact are they really going to have in that season? I think in the long term, I think Mudryk is going to be a very impactful player for us. Um, what remains to be seen is how impactful he'll be with our title charge. I think ultimately his biggest impact is just going to be, I guess, security on the bench, security in terms of depth, which is, I think, what we need ultimately in the first place. But I think getting somebody like Smith Rowe back, um, eventually getting somebody like Reese Nelson back, um, I think we're going to be okay depth wise. But I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll see how impactful he may or may not be in our title chase. But you know, I think I think we're going to get a player, maybe two, but even if we just get one, I would consider that a very strong transfer window. Ultimately, you know what I mean?
Yeah, as you said, it's a hard transfer window to do good business in. Yeah, hopefully we can get Mudryk in. I'm just looking at the whole situation of how Shakhtar are playing this, and they're saying that we're rating him worth this much based on the whole Anthony to Man United transfer. I don't know where they're getting that from because it's a different situation. You know, Anthony was a more well-known player. He was playing for Ajax for a while. With Mudryk, I don't know much about him myself, and just looking at his stats and what he's been doing, I don't think you can compare the two players and say, okay, if Anthony's worth this, then we should be getting this amount from Mudryk. So they are playing hardball. We know that it's hard negotiating now in this month because it's a short time. They know that we want the players, so they're trying their best to get as much out of us as they can. But yeah, let's hope we can get that one sealed. And yeah, if we can get maybe another player, maybe a player on loan, that would be great, just to help to add the strength in the squad. But yeah, as you said, worst case, we just get the one in, that's still going to help us a lot. And let's hope we can get this transfer sealed as soon as possible. So let's talk about the North London derby now, bro. Looking at this season, they started off quite well. I remember that game going into that North London derby, they were right up there towards the top of the table. People were bigging them up, saying, they're looking good. They fell apart. They really fell apart. And it's great to see. They did win their last game in the league, in the FA Cup as well. But before that, they were on a really bad run, losing many games. We've heard Conte complaining a lot, saying they need to buy so many world-class players and spend so much money. They got some issues there. We've had it for a while. We've seen many world-class managers go there and really struggle with them. So it is Tottenham. We expect them to struggle this season again. But one thing we've got to say as well, though, is that we've not finished above them in a while. All right. So we've got to look at that as well. We've got to also say that, as I was saying earlier when we started the show, we've not beaten them at their ground for so many years now. We're talking 2014. That's coming on 8 years now. It is 8 years, isn't it? We're in 2023. So, as much as we like to, tease them and say whatever you want, and they've not been great for so long, but in recent times we've had an upper hand on us in terms of finishing in the league and at their ground. So it's really important if we can get this win. It's looking like we are going to finish above them this season, which is going to be great. We've got a good lead on them in terms of points, but for our title race, but also just as I say, for that feeling of saying, yeah, we beat you at your ground again. I remember during Arsene Wenger's time, it was common practice. We very rarely lost to them. For many years, we were on runs where it's didn't beat them. We ended up being a draw many times at their ground, but we didn't lose, and always beat them at home most of the time as well. So we want to get back to that dominance over them, show them that North London is red and always will be red. And we have a dominant team. We want to do the double over them this season. Let's hope we can do it. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, as long as I've been a supporter of Arsenal, it's going on 5 seasons or something like that. Like, yeah, I have personally never seen Arsenal beat Tottenham at Tottenham, right? So for me, anyways, like in my mind right now, I'm really, really nervous. I felt way more confident the last time around when we beat them 3-1. I just felt like we were the hotter team. Obviously, I kind of still feel the same way. I feel player for player, our starting 11 is better than their starting 11, with the exception of maybe Harry Kane, right? Like, you got to give him his props. Fair enough. Really great player. But I mean, Harry Kane or Eddie Nketiah, like, all love to Eddie Nketiah, but I think Harry Kane is just the better player, right? But overall, I think we have the better squad. I think we're playing a lot better as a unit. Our guys are more confident. We've got our project going. I don't know. As I've been saying all year, I feel like Tottenham has really been getting lucky with their results. I've watched a few of their games just because, or I've watched basically almost all their games, right? Even though they're not necessarily our title rival, they are our rival, and I'm like, I want to see what's going to happen with them. And again, the same thing I'm always seeing. Like they never come out strong. They aren't they aren't scary, but they always seem to just kind of stick around long enough to either get lucky and squeeze out a point or get a win. A lot of times those are weaker teams, so I feel like we're a better team overall. So the couple things that are scaring me a little bit is it's on their pitch. Um, so and again, we haven't beaten them for a long time. I've never seen them win it at Tottenham. In fact, the worst memory during Project Restart, right when COVID stopped everything, it pushed everything back a few months, right? And then when we played them in Tottenham, it actually landed on my birthday, July 12th, 2020. We lost to them 2-1. But I was super excited because I'm like, wow, like they're playing on my birthday. This never happens because, my birthday's in the middle of summer. So, you know, league games don't ever happen at that time. Um, so yeah, I kind of want to just hope them, at least for me personally, avenge that little spoiler of a birthday present. But yeah, all that rambling to say, I think we can beat them. Um, I just think we have to come out and, as we've always done, come out strong, be clinical, and then expect a fight back. Right? They're going to fight back. They're going to continue playing. Um, I hate to say this, but I feel like the referees aren't going to be giving us any benefits of the doubt, if you will. So we're going to have to like be able to overcome some of these mental things. And again, this is another one of those games, man. The revenge tour. This is a game that started our downward spiral at the end of the season to where we missed out on Champions League. And so up to this point, every single fixture where we've lost points, we've either we've either turned it into a win. I think one of them, the Southampton one, we turned that loss into a draw. So we've gotten points out of every one of these sort of revenge games that I've kind of like put it in my head. So here's another one. Here's another opportunity, like at Brentford or at Crystal Palace. This is an opportunity for this squad to put last year's ghosts to bed and just kick the shit out of Tottenham, man. So I'm feeling confident, but I'm also very nervous. I feel like it's going to be a very tight game, a lot tighter than the first one, just because obviously its stakes have risen up a little bit, and Tottenham is a little bit more desperate. But I think our quality is gonna win out. So if I'm gonna have a prediction, I think it's gonna be something like 3-2. I think we jump ahead 1-0, maybe 2-0. I think they fight back, but we hold them off and finish 3-2. Um, and I think our front three again is going to step up, and each one of them is going to get a goal. Uh, and if one of them doesn't, I think someone like Bukayo Saka is going to get like 2 goals. I think our front three have all stepped up as a unit, to kind of cover for our loss of Jesus. So yeah, man, I think we just got our front three is better than their front three. We'll say that. Harry Kane is good. I don't think Son is having. I think he's kind of on the downward. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. What do you think?
I think, as you're saying, it's going to be tighter than the one here. It's, as we know, they're at home, so they're going to be really motivated. We're going to have a crowd behind them. We know it's going to be a hostile atmosphere. But the way we've been playing this season, we've gone to so many grounds where in the past last season, we struggled with the likes of Crystal Palace, Brentford. We've managed to go to these grounds, play really well, shut down the teams. Chelsea as well. Always say what a performance that was. Going away there, we barely let them have any chances. I'm pretty confident we had to go there and be able to shut them down. And I'm a bit more confident in terms of the scoreline. I think it will be 3-1. Same result as we had here. I think we're going to get the same result there, 3-1. I was speaking to one of my friends who's a Tottenham fan. He was saying that they do start slowly this season in most of the games, as you were mentioning. They do really start slowly and they're better in the second half. So for us, we've been great, in all our games, starting off really well in nearly every game this season. So as you said, get out on the front foot, get ahead. And I just see us controlling the game after that. And yeah, they're gonna fight. Obviously, they have to keep going. They're gonna probably maybe get one goal back, but I just see it being a comfortable 3-1 win for us. And like I say, it's been such a while. It's gonna feel so good, and it's important because now, we're on another level to them. They're down fighting for top four. We're past that level at the moment. We're not just fighting for top four anymore. We're trying to go for the league title. So we want to show that we're level above them and we're the ones that are going for the title. And it's going to be interesting because before that, we know there's a massive game tomorrow between Man United and Man City. So how that result goes, if it goes like a draw, for example, there'd be a great chance for us to get that lead back up to 7 points. And every time City have slipped up this season, we saw before the international break, we took advantage of it, got to 5 points ahead. Again, when they slipped up against Everton, we went against Brighton, got the win, got to getting 8 points clear. So we've stepped up. Sorry, 7 points clear, wasn't it? It wasn't 8 points clear. Yeah. So every time it went 8 points because we got the draw against Newcastle, but they had the game in hand. Yeah. So so we got 7 points clear. So this could be potentially another chance for us to go 7 points. It could even be 8 points clear if Man United were to beat Man City. So it's a massive, massive game for us, not just because of the local rivalry, but the situation of the title race. So, bro, I'm really excited, really,
Yeah.
really excited. But what do you think the key to us winning that game is going to be in terms of how we approach it? We saw last season the way Conte was. They sat back a little bit, tried to let us have a lot of the ball, and then trying to hit us with pace on the break. We know we had Rob Holding there, who really struggled against Son. This time we're gonna have Saliba, who I think is gonna have no problems dealing with Son. We know Saliba's got a lot of pace. He's strong. I don't see Son causing him the trouble that he was causing Rob Holding last season. But yeah, what do you think about tactics and how we should look to approach this?
Yeah, you bring up the last game, and I'm looking at the our starting lineup. We had Cedric at right back, Rob Holding, who got a red card, Gabriel and Tomiyasu in the back, and then we had Xhaka and El Neni, and then we had Nketiah up front. So we're gonna have Nketiah up front again, but I think he's gonna play a lot better this time around. Rob Holding is gonna sort of be our our deputy coming in at the end, hopefully, right? Hopefully when we're ahead up, like you say, we'll be able to shut them down. But yeah, we have Saliba on the back this time. We have Zinchenko, which I think Zinchenko's going to end up starting. But then we also have Tierney if we need to, and then we have Ben White playing his ass off at right back as well. So our back four, a lot of people talk about like how great our our front three is and how our back four is, or yeah, our back four is as well. I think our key is definitely going to be like being able to have just a much stronger midfield with Thomas Partey. I think he's for a long time been the unsung hero of our team. Um, so I think that's going to be, I think the key to the game. Last time we had El Neni, and I think El Neni's great, and he's one of my favorite players on the squad. But El Neni is great if you're trying to protect the lead or settle a young team down, if you will. I don't think he's good in terms of like pushing the attack. I think Thomas Partey is going to be the guy. And just like even the last game too, I think he had a masterclass game. He had a goal as well, right? Like a goal that I think they even planned for because, as you said, they like to play deep and they like to just kind of sit in the box. And our squad recognized that, and it almost was like we planned to give Thomas a 40-yard banger opportunity, and he nailed it. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but I think he's going to have another masterclass, man. And I think I'm predicting, I'm going to predict that he's going to be our man of the match. Whether it's just holding it down in the midfield, he might maybe have a couple of opportunities as far as like maybe take a couple shots or even just get some assists. But some of our big breaks are always start with Thomas Partey doing some kind of like either header away from a corner kick and just getting it going. So that, and I think our back four is just a lot stronger. I think again, William Saliba is a lot more composed than someone like Rob Holding. And I think another key to the game is I mentioned a little bit earlier is I'm really nervous about the referees and like how they're going to call the game, and I hope they stay as neutral as possible. But I will say this: as much controversy that went on during the Newcastle game, I did think our guys overall as a unit were very composed, and we were still very much in control of that game. Um, and I think I think it's gonna carry on to Sunday, to where I think our midfield is gonna have to dominate, and then I just think we're gonna have to be patient and also just very um, not lose our cool, because I think it's going to be a very heated game. As long as we're not getting any red cards, I think we're going to be okay. Um, so yeah, I think that's going to be to summarize all my rambling. Two keys. I think it's just going to be midfield and then composure. As long as we can just keep our cool, I think we got this in the bag. And I think Thomas Partey is going to be like our key player overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Midfield is going to be key. Thomas Partey, we know what a great player he is, and I'm like you expecting him to boss it. I think we're going to overrun him in midfield. We've seen as well the difference Zinchenko makes to our attacking play. Saw it in that FA Cup game as well when he came on. We've seen it all season. But just the way he's
That's a
able,
good point. Yeah.
yeah, he's able to go into midfield, give us that extra man in midfield. His range of passing, his pace. He's always looking to open doors and create things. So I just think we're gonna have way too much of him. And yeah, come on, boys, we got this. So before we go, I want to talk about, as we normally do, the other games, big games coming up this weekend. So there's one huge game that involves our title rivals. And looking at, you can even say Man United are not far off being close to being in the title race, because if they were to beat Man City, they're only going to be 1 point behind them. So, it's a huge match for the top of the table. For us, I think ideal will be a draw. That's perfect. Both drop points. We can then beat Tottenham and gain points on both of them. But it's going to be interesting that Man United have been playing well recently. We've seen since the international break, they've come back. Marcus Rashford's been on fire, scoring a lot of goals. I think they've won the most games since the restart. So they have these games in the Carabao Cup. They've won them all, FA Cup as well, the league as well. So they're a team that's in form. They're up against Man City, who I've been saying this to you for a while. I was saying to you this before the international break. They don't seem the same team this season compared to the last couple of years. They've dropped a lot more games than we're used to seeing them drop. They've looked poor in quite a few games, and we just saw in their last game against Southampton. I know it's the Carabao Cup, and they didn't have their main 11 out there, but they still had a very strong team, and they got turned over quite comfortably. When I was watching it, I thought Southampton were comfortable in that game for large parts and deserved to win 2-0. So, not sure. Obviously, it's a huge game. Pep's going to have him up for it, and it's a derby. So, could go either way, that one for me. You would say on paper, City are favourites, but I think it's going to be a really close game. And like I say, for us, ideally, it would be a draw. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly as you said. I think it's gonna. I think yeah, obviously our best outcome would be for them to draw. I hope it's an exciting game, which I think it will be. Um, United is kind of starting to scare me a little bit. They've not yeah. I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that they cut off Ronaldo. Like I think I even predicted it. I didn't really say it a lot, but like in my head, I was like, yeah, they're gonna get rid of Ronaldo and they're gonna experience a bounce, almost like getting that new manager bounce. Um, and they're riding high on a wave. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Um, I don't think they're quite in that title race conversation yet, but they're like right on the edge. So it's getting a little bit scary on in terms of like seeing them kind of coming up behind us. So I'm hoping for an exciting game. I'm gonna watch it as a neutral and just kind of hope there's a lot of action going on, some goals. Um, Ultimately, I want the draw, but I have a feeling that City is going to um, bounce back from their surprising loss to Southampton in the Carabao Cup semifinal or quarterfinal, wherever stage they're in right now. But I think they're going to come out the angry team, and I don't think it's going to be like that 6-3 blowout that happened a few months ago. I think it'll be a lot closer. I'm hoping for a draw, but I'm going to predict like a 3-2 City win, which I think obviously is going to put a good amount of pressure on us to perform as well. But I think we will. But yeah, I'm going to say 3-2 City. But I hope I really, really hope I'm wrong on that one and we see a draw. Ultimately, I just want to see some goals because I'm going to wake up at 6:30 in the morning to watch this. And I do not want to see a 0-0 slugfest, or else I'm just going to be very upset and sleepy. you know,
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game to watch. Like I was just saying, with City, I've seen that. I remember some of the Champions League games as well. They didn't look too good in the league. We've seen them lose games, and just I don't think they've quite gelled yet. We know Harden's been getting a lot of goals for them, but it's a new style of playing for them, and their defense looks a bit shaky. So, really, it's looking like it could be one of them seasons where they're not going to be as consistent as we've seen and going on them runs of winning 10, 15 games, which makes it better for us, obviously.
yeah,
Even if they did go on these runs, I'm very confident we're able to go on long runs of winning games. But to see them struggling so much this season is a good thing. And let's hope that continues. So, quick score prediction, you went for 3-2. I'm going to go that one. I think it's going to be 1-1. Think I know I'm saying this because it's an ideal result as well in my head for us, but I just think
yeah.
it's tight, and I just see them 1-1. Next game I wanted to ask you about is Brighton versus Liverpool. That should be a good game. Seeing Brighton form team this season, Liverpool struggling. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, before I even hop into that one, I did just notice it was that Manchester derby is going to be in Old Trafford. So yeah, they're going to have the crowd behind them. So yeah, like we'll see what happens, right? It's going to be a strong game. Brighton and Liverpool, we've seen Liverpool struggle, extremely inconsistent. Brighton and Hove Albion, very good at home. I think even with us, even though we ended up winning 4-2 and we were up 3-0 at one point, they did kind of fight back and it was this close to being 4-3 at one point. So yeah, Brighton plays very difficult they're a very difficult draw at home. So I'm gonna say Brighton pulls up another upset. An upset in terms of just names. I don't think Liverpool is the same team that they've been in years past. So I think Brighton helps us out and gets the win. I think it's going to be 2-1 Brighton with a late winner. Um, yeah, 2-1.
Okay. Chelsea are playing Crystal Palace.
Ah,
You text me yesterday
yeah,
telling me they looks awful, and they really do. They've been really struggling this season. There's even calls that Graham Potter should get sacked. It's funny. They really are in disarray there. Like, I don't know what's going on with them. It's just a mess. It's great to see them struggling so much. And yeah, they got Crystal Palace at home. I think Crystal Palace could beat them. It could be another loss for them. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that one?
yeah. I think I was thinking about this because I knew you were going to ask me about it. I do remember, yeah, texting you and just I had the game on the side and even though they did score a goal to kind of level it out at one point, it wasn't like the prettiest of goals. And they got a little bit lucky to even get that goal. And overall, it was a pretty dominant performance by um, by Fulham. Uh, Chelsea spent $20 million to get João Felix, and he got a red card in the 58th minute. So they're going to be without him for this next game, and then two more after that. So I don't know who they're going to play at striker. And then they also had somebody else fall off injured. I think he was a defender. Koulibaly might be. I don't know if there's Koulibaly on that squad, but anyway, but they got another injury going on. Yeah, look at their injury list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys out, injury or suspended. That's a whole starting 11, right? So they are a dumpster fire right now, and I think it continues. I know they're at home and they play Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace, well, they're not that far off. In fact, Crystal Palace could jump them in the table, or actually draw level with them in terms of points. But I think Chelsea feels the pressure at home. I don't think it's a home pitch advantage for them, and I think it ends up being something like 3-1, but a lot closer than indicated, right? I think it's like 1-1, and then I think they just kind of blow it at the end. So I'll be pulling. I put Ezzy. I think I pronounced his name right. He's a midfielder. Eze is how you spell it. I forget his first name, but I put him on my fantasy team with hopes that he's a lot more dangerous than Zaha is. But I hope Zaha and Ezzy put it on those Chelsea hunts. And yeah, it's gonna be like 3-1, bro. It's gonna be rough for them. I just want to see them crash, man.
Yeah, it's great to see that. And then the last game I'm going to ask you about for the weekend is Newcastle. So they're still right up there. We know in the table, third place for them still. I'm still annoyed with how they played against us. It's still enough frustrating speed just remembering that game because that was just ridiculous performance from a team that's up in third place in the Premier League, who are trying to become among the better teams in the Premier League to come and play the way they did here, like a relegation team, just wasting time, defending all game. But they are having a good season, we got to say, and they're still right up there in the table. So they are playing Fulham at home. Your thoughts on that one?
Ooh, man, like that's gonna be a good one, man. Newcastle at home, all props to them. They're a very strong team, great defense. Almiron's having the season of his life. Um, Trippier is a good defender. Who else do they've got? They've got Guimaraes, the Brazilian. Like they're just playing very, very well. They can't really score a lot of goals, but they're not giving up a whole lot of goals either. Um, and Fulham are coming off a very, very big win for them, at least at home against Chelsea. Um, so their confidence is going to be sky high. I'm hoping for a draw. I think that's what we're going to see. Um, just because I think Fulham, from what I watched, their defense is also pretty strong as well. So I'm gonna say 1-1. Nah, I'll just say 2-2. I think it'll be I think the gates will open up. Everybody's gonna start scoring. But I want to see a draw. So I'm gonna draw and kind of manifest that into existence. So that both teams drop points. I mean, it'd be great to Fulham's a great story. They're fun to watch. But I do want to see Newcastle drop some points. But I don't think Fulham is that strong enough to beat them. Newcastle are a very tough, tough nut to crack. So I'm going to call another draw for them. They get a lot of draws, Newcastle, so they're another one.
Okay. Yeah, let's hope they drop points, get a draw. Man United and Man City get a draw there between them. They'll drop points too. We beat Tottenham. It'll be a great weekend for us. Let's hope. I'll be discussing that with you next week. So yeah, that's all from us, bro. Thanks for your time, bro.
Always a pleasure, man. It's going to be a big fucking weekend. I'll be texting you throughout because I'll be watching for sure. And hopefully next time we talk next week about we battered Spurs and amen because they get battered everywhere they go. So let's fucking go, boys. Come on, Arsenal. Do it.
Yeah, let's batter Tottenham. Come on, boys.
Yeah. Come on, man.
So
Let's
that's all
go.
from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.